G'day Amazing EV family and welcome back to the channel. I'm Roscoe and this is news at Amazing EV, and today we're going to have a look at something fascinating, if not slightly controversial, that's sending ripples all through the used EV market all over the world, and particularly see what effect it might have on us here in Australia. And of course, I'm talking about this increasing trend that we're hearing about zero mileage used EVs, a trend that's allegedly coming out of China at the moment. Well, you might be scratching your head at the moment, like we were wondering, what are zero mileage used EVs? Well, thanks to this intriguing report from InsideEVs, we're seeing a practice emerge from China's booming EV industry that's creating a unique segment in the used EV market right around the world.
The second-hand car market is now a shining point, and its export volume is growing year by year. China is exporting second-hand cars to over 160 countries and regions.
So here's the rundown. In China, some manufacturers and associated dealers are registering brand new electric vehicles, cars with literally zero or very few kilometers on the clock, as used cars. Why? Well, the Chinese car market, as you probably know, is intensely competitive. They focus on anything to reach sales volumes and discount as much as they can. But one of the practices that has started to creep into the industry is taking brand new cars, registering to achieve those targets, and then on-selling them in local and overseas markets as used cars. This allows manufacturers to boost their sales figures, clear old inventory, and also importantly get very important government incentives associated with selling new cars, particularly EVs. If this sounds a little bit familiar for us here in Australia, you wouldn't be wrong, and it's not entirely new for the global used car landscape either. Cast your mind back to the Japanese used car market, where for decades, strict vehicle inspection regulations, high depreciation, and a saturated local market provide perfectly good low-mileage Japanese cars, which were routinely registered for short periods, sometimes 1 or 2 years, and then exported around the world, including to countries like Australia and New Zealand. In New Zealand, there's Japanese cars, late-model Japanese cars, all over the country. The parallels with China's zero-mileage used cars is striking, right? In both cases, there's a unique dynamic in the domestic market. Whether it's a regulatory pressure, sales targets, or rapid production cycles, this leads to surpluses of essentially new cars being reclassified as used cars and pushed out to an eager used car market all over the world. The result? In many cases, a fantastic opportunity for used car buyers around the world to get a great deal on an almost brand new car. So what does this mean for the Australian used car market and the Amazing EV family right now? Well, the answer is fairly nuanced because fortunately at this stage we're protected from the full brunt of the Chinese invasion of used zero mileage cars, because fortunately they're all left-hand drive, and this doesn't really affect the right-hand models as far as we know just at the moment. So fortunately Australian buyers won't feel the effect of this onslaught just at the moment. Unlike the Japanese cars, which are all right-hand drive, Chinese are naturally left-hand drive. And they won't normally come to Australia until they've got penetration or gravitas in another country that's right-hand drive. So they've got sufficient volume to bring to Australia. Countries like Thailand, once they get a market for a right-hand drive in Thailand, they're going to come to Australia as well. Hopefully this means the right-hand drive country, Australia, is largely protected from this influx, just at the moment anyway. However, this doesn't mean that the trend has no impact at all. In some ways, it's just the tip of the iceberg, such as the competitive nature of the Chinese market, the volumes that they're dealing with, and the extent that they'll go to keep shifting volumes. There's no reason why this might start to migrate to the right-hand drive market at some stage. And certainly with cost pressures in China and constant discounting, it's only going to have a flow-on effect to the price of cars here in Australia. And all too clearly, as we're finding out now around the world, it also underscores how different market dynamics around the world have flow-on effects to different markets in other parts of the world. A butterfly flaps its wings in an EV market in China, and there's a hurricane here in Australia. Discounting that's going on in China at the moment is anything to go by. It's only going to flow on to cheaper prices for new EVs here, right-hand or left-hand drive. And of course, cheaper new EVs are only going to flow onto more affordable, reasonable used EVs in the used EV market. Great quality cars for our Amazing EV family, and we can't wait for more of that. Because one day in the future, we might see some of these zero mileage used EVs appear on Australian soil. So there's going to continue to be some fantastic opportunities for used EV buyers in the future. What do you think of this development? Is it a brilliant market mechanism, or it is a questionable workaround? Either way, let me know in the comments below if you found this insight into the global EV market interesting. Subscribe, push the like button below, do all the things you're supposed to do. We'll continue to bring as much news from around the world about used and new EVs. I'm Roscoe, and we'll see you next time.